What on earth is this? So, don't say I never treat you guys, because this is a really special episode of What on Earth Is This? And I'm genuinely so pleased I managed to pin this one down. So back in March, I posted on my YouTube channel that I was coming to Switzerland to film a collab, but I also mentioned that there was a gap, there was a bit of a gap between filming the collab and having to fly home. And so I asked you guys what else I should film while I was here. And there was some really, really fascinating stuff in there, some of which I have included onto my to-do list. But there was one comment from a guy called Marcus Heine that was just, go visit the Zingelbahn with like 10 exclamation marks.
I was immediately hooked. Anything with Bahn in the name has a high likelihood of being fascinating or completely mental. And so I looked it up and was introduced to the wonderful world of the Materialseilbahn Obermatt to Unterzingel, or the Obermatt to Unterzingel cargo ropeway, although most people just know it as the Zingelbahn. And this thing is bizarre. It's an engineering marvel with a fascinating history that I couldn't wait to cover. But much to my disappointment, I discovered that the Zingelbahn is privately owned and is not accessible to the public. There seems to be literally one video available of it, recorded 15 years ago, and that's about it. I contacted the government of the canton of Nidwalden, where the ropeway is located, and asked for more information on it in the hopes that I could still make a video, just maybe not on location. And much to my undisappointment, they completely unprompted replied with the full address and phone number of the owner and said, "Why don't you go see it for yourself?" This is the Engelberg Valley, one of the most rural agrarian regions of Switzerland, and it's absolutely spectacular. The valley, the name of which literally translates to the Mountain of Angels, has been populated by farmers and monks, strangely, for millennia. It's like exactly what you think of when Switzerland comes to mind. Huge mountains, pristine pastures, cheese, cowbells, you know the drill. One thing that is very interesting about the valley is that archaeologists have found evidence dating back at least 5,000 years of something called transhumance. And that is the obviously ancient practice of moving livestock between different grazing pastures depending on the season. You move your herd of sheep, cattle, or whatever from one pasture to another at the beginning of summer, and then back again in winter. For instance, in places like Spain, farmers would move their animals south in winter to find better grazing, then back again in summer, letting each pasture recover in between.
But in some parts of the world, particularly very mountainous ones, transhumance can get a little weird.
Alpine transhumance, rather than consisting of taking animals north or south for different climates, involves taking them, well, up or down, really. The Engelberg Valley is perfect for this. It's narrow, heavily forested, and there just isn't much grazing space on the valley floor. Leave animals there year-round and they'll completely destroy it. So instead, farmers looked up to the small stratified plains beneath the glaciers on the peaks above and thought, damn, they're covered in snow now, but I bet in summer they're covered in delicious grass for me to eat. I mean, for my cows to eat. And so they formed long chains of cows and sheep and whatever else, and they walked them up the mountain to these tiny little summer grazing pastures, where they'd set up little seasonal outposts for their farms, which were weirdly known as Alps. But this is also weirdly not related to the name of the mountain range, which came later.
But the thing is, once you've done your hike up there with your animals and you've got all your butter and your cheese and whatever you make up there, do you really want to have to hike all the way back down every time someone wants to, like, I don't know, buy your Emmental or whatever? No, obviously not. That's silly.
Or so thought Remigi Niederberger, a local to the Engelberg Valley and a blacksmith by trade. The year is 1898, and at the age of 38 years old, Remigi, side note, what a strange name that is, decides that he's seen enough of farmers breaking their backs to get their materials and products up and down the mountains around Engelberg, and he springs into action. He begins by building one-way cable systems, the first of which is strung between here and here, just outside his home village of Dallenville. In this system, farmers would haul an empty cart and sliding hook up the mountain once, leave it up there, and then whenever anything needed to be sent down, they'd chuck it in and let gravity do the rest. Obviously, this still required the work of hauling the cart itself up the mountain, but this was preferable to carrying entire bales of hay down the mountain, wasn't it? He replaced the sliding hook system with a wheel system a few years later, and his love affair with cable cars had begun. He began experimenting up and down the Engelberg Valley with new systems, from counterbalanced cable cars to motor-driven pulley systems allowing for two-way transport, culminating in him and his sons forming Niederberger AG, a cable car engineering firm that still exists to this day. In fact, this whole region of Switzerland is covered in what are now called, and I believe is pronounced, Buirabahnli, or literally little farming mountain railways, most of which still use what became Niederberger's trademark, the Niederberger Schiffli, a funny little open-air cable car design used to get goods and people up and down the Alps in summer. I'm doing a massive video on the Zingelbahn collectively in a few months, so we'll come back to them some other time. But either way, good job, Remigi. This is an impressive legacy to leave for a dude who in 1898 suddenly decided to start making cable cars basically out of scrap metal. Most of the designs created in Remigi's more experimental period, before he and his sons settled on motor-driven cable cars, haven't survived till the present day. They were either superseded by more efficient designs or ripped up for scrap metal.
But luckily for us, his most experimental design has survived. And here it is!
And before we get into the nitty-gritty about what this thing is, it's time for a word from today's sponsor.
I got this book a while back, and I've been waiting to open it so that we can have a look at it together for the first time. If civilization collapsed tomorrow, how much could you actually rebuild yourself?
Look how pretty that is.
Because I reckon I could probably make a rudimentary shelter, and then within about 3 days I'd realize I actually don't know how anything in the world works.
Look how nice it looks. Look at that.
And that's basically the idea behind Hungry Minds' The Book, the ultimate guide to rebuilding civilization.
Right, let's choose a random page. A potter's wheel. And it's literally like how to make it, and then it has how to use it. Measuring tools. The mirror. The wheel. A parachute. Gear and rolling mill.
It's this enormous, beautifully illustrated guide to the accumulated technology and knowledge that actually makes civilization function, from agriculture and medicine to engineering, navigation, and communications.
It's mad. This is like ADHD, the book.
It's less like reading an encyclopedia and more like falling down about 400 Wikipedia rabbit holes simultaneously, which is obviously extremely dangerous for someone like me.
You don't want to see the crazy book? Oh, I'll take that as a no.
So if you're the sort of person who watches this channel because you want to know how weird bits of the world work, have a look at Hungry Minds using the link below, and remember to use my code WhatOnEarth10 for a lovely little discount. And thank you to Hungry Minds for sponsoring this video. It's genuinely one of the coolest sponsors I've had.
In 1923, just 3 years before Remigi died, he was commissioned to build one of his Materialseilbahn from Obermatt, down here in the valley, up to Unterzingel, a traditional alpine pasture on this ledge here.
This is Unterzingel. Obermatt is down at... Is it Obermatt or Obermattli?
Obermatt.
Obermatt, okay. So Obermatt is down at the bottom of the valley. This is Unterzingel. This is the alpine pasture that they would use in summer, because obviously in winter it's covered in snow. But now it's all this fresh grass. And I don't know what else to say about it because I'm just improvising on camera, but it's very nice here.
And maybe inspired by the balancing reservoir next to the bottom station, he opted for a Wasserballastbahn design. Yes, a water-balanced cable car. Now, if you saw my video about the sewage-powered funicular in Fribourg a few months back, you'll know what a water-balanced funicular is. If not, here's a quick clip from that video explaining how it works.
In this setup, both cars have a ballast water tank. The tank in the car at the top is slowly filled up with water until it becomes heavier than the one at the bottom, and would then start moving down the hill, dragging the other one with an empty tank up in the opposite direction. If geographically possible, the water is usually taken from a source near the top station, such as a lake or a water main. If not, the water is pumped up to the top station.
Water-balanced funiculars are already a massively dying breed. There's only thought to be about 7 still in existence.
But water-balanced cable cars, the Materialseilbahn Obermatt Unterzingel, appears to be the only one of its kind in the entire world.
Not quite. After filming this, I spoke to the Bunter family who owns and operates the Zingelbahn, and they informed me that somewhere out there, lurking in the Swiss mountains, is at least one more water-balanced cable car. And after descending into an internet rabbit hole so obscure that I'm fairly sure I reached the end of Google, I found it. It's the Materialseilbahn St. Niklausdorf to Rickety, which is over here in Valais. These are the only 2 fully water-balanced suspended cable cars still operating in the world as far as I can tell. But either way, it's still very cool, very old, very interesting, and it's worth a video, so don't hate me.
In this random wooded area of central Switzerland. Okay, well, to add to the superlatives, I've just seen this thing in action for the first time. It is so much faster than I expected. I thought the deflection wheel was gonna catch fire. It was going at such a pace. It comes flying down and like slams into it and all the water goes everywhere. Oh my God. It's so much faster than I expected, and then it's gonna hit the bottom, and that is a lot of water. Whoa, man. Okay, that was kind of scary to film.
So how does this thing work? Well, the 18mm, 780 meter long steel cable stretches from Obermatt up to Unterzingel, a height difference of 580 meters, which is a pretty steep cable car system. According to the rather fantastic Schweizer Seilbahn Inventar, or Swiss cable car inventory website, it has an average slope of about 106%, or around 47 degrees, and a maximum gradient of a remarkable 140%, or 55 degrees.
One thing I will say straight off the bat, it is so much higher and steeper in person. Any videos that you might have seen online do not do it justice in the slightest. It is, you're prone to get vertigo from looking up here. It's absolutely crazy how high it is.
You may see some sources calling it the steepest cable car in Europe, but it's actually not even close. At such a gradient, it would be the steepest funicular in the world, but cable cars, as in like dangling down like this, can go way steeper, as I have actually shown you in a different video right here. This is the steepest cable car in the world. It's in Lauterbrunnen. Either way, much like the water balance funiculars, these two strangely shaped cars contain an empty 200-litre tank beneath the cabin. At the mountain station at the top, the cars are filled with water until it's heavy enough to automatically pull the second cabin uphill. And it's not particularly technologically advanced. It's just a hose that fills up the top cabin until it's heavy enough to move, and then it starts moving and away it goes, leaving the hose behind. And that's the whole thing. No electricity or motors in sight, just two cable car carriages living in the moment. As it has no intermediate supports, the system also gets remarkably high off the ground, a maximum of 200 meters or around 650 feet near the top station. And once it's on the move, man alive, it is fast. There's a theory among some people that this may be the fastest cable car in the world, because usually they have braking systems in order to sort of not put so much strain on the system, and particularly on the deflection wheels. But this thing doesn't have that, and oh my God, it's fast. I think a normal cable car on average goes between about 10 and 20 kilometers an hour. This thing, if the brakes are used very liberally, can go upwards of 60 kilometers an hour. It's incredibly fast. It's pretty frightening to see.
And as it's coming up, it burns the cable a bit, and it smells like a wood fire. Yeah, it's a pretty intense piece of engineering. And yeah, health and safety, it's just not much of a thing here. So yeah, a very cool part of the design is that when the top car comes down, the top car filled with water comes down, the wheel hits this concrete and comes up, and that opens the valve here that empties the rest of the water, so that then this one is empty, meaning the one up there can be filled and it will come down again. And one other thing that is quite fun is that, obviously because that's automated, it means that only the top station needs to be manned. And as a result, if you want to get the attention of the person up there to fill it with water and bring you up, you get a big stick and you bang on the cable, and that reverberates all the way up, and then it connects to like a little wire that then rings some bells, or like, is a bell. It's a bell. Okay, perfect. That is very surreal. Wow. This is amazing. This is really cool and slightly surreal. Okay. So the Bunter family have very kindly let me try out the stick technique. I'm not allowed to ride it because Swiss regulations mean it's not suitable for passenger transport, but they've said that I can do the stick thing. And so I'm gonna do it now. 3 times? Okay. This one or that one? Top one. And then if you wait, whoa, let's see. The vibration comes back down. There it is again. Does it do it more than once? Oh yeah, there it is again. My hits are reverberating up and down the cable. This is very surreal. Okay, right. So now that should make the cable car move. The original cars that were built in 1923, I don't think they were ever photographed, but they were replaced in 1931 by this, which is a sort of prototype of the Niederberger Schiffli design that we've seen elsewhere. And it's still in use today. This is the original one.
These carriages were designed to double as passenger transport, with 2 people allowed per trip. It's not clear if this means one person per carriage, like for the whole system, or just 2 people in each carriage, though it appears that the max load weight for one carriage is around 100 kilograms, so if it were 2 per carriage, said people would have to be comprised mostly of helium. In around 1964, the Zingelbahn lost its license for passenger transport. And yeah, any footage that you see of me at the top station, I cannot legally say that I got there via the Zingelbahn. Let's just say I teleported. But what I can say legally is that the operators allowed me to put my camera in the car and just let it run up and down a few times to get some footage. And yeah, you can see it's pretty fast. It's pretty rudimentary, pretty shaky, pretty fast. And yeah, that's the Zingelbahn. What a mad and amazing little thing. Not only is it remarkable in design, but it's remarkable in longevity. When so many unique and quirky pieces of transport infrastructure all over the world have been torn down over the decades and centuries, the Zingelbahn endures as one of the only thing of its type on the planet. And helped by some of the most spectacular scenery I've ever seen, this corner of said planet is pretty hard to beat.
Okay. So I also wanted to finish this video by saying, when I mentioned earlier at the bottom that someone called Marcus Heine recommended that I come and see the Zingelbahn.
Hello.
Marcus and Noy, everybody say hello. They've been incredibly helpful. They know the guys who run this place, and they've helped me film, and they gave me some beer. It's like the best trip ever. So yes.
You always drink beer at the end of a video, so
I do often drink beer at the end of a video.
Hope you enjoyed it, and yeah.
Thank you very much, and yeah,
It was
see you.
nice seeing you.
Yes, you too. Very nice to meet you.